What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Medina, and this is Queen's Nutrition, a platform created for people of color living with pre- and type 2 diabetes who are looking to naturally balance your blood sugar, lower your A1C, and eliminate the need for diabetes medication. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 worst foods for diabetes. Now, why are these considered the worst foods? 2 reasons. Number 1 is because these foods are highly inflammatory. And when you're living with diabetes, your body is already in a state of inflammation. So overindulging in these foods is like adding fuel to the fire, which you don't want if your goal is to reverse diabetes. And number 2, they contribute to insulin resistance. Your body is already in a state of insulin resistance. So again, these foods are going to make that condition even worse. Now, here's a little bit of a disclaimer. I am not saying that you are never going to eat these foods ever again. Furthermore, I'm also not saying that you have to completely 1000% cut out these foods altogether if you want to reverse diabetes, because that is not true either. But one of the most important things that you can do is have an awareness of what foods are going to work for you and what foods have the potential to dramatically work against you. So I want you to use this video as a sort of tool to start cultivating that awareness around some of the foods that you're consuming, and also paying attention to some of the foods that you find yourself naturally gravitating towards. So let's go ahead and get into it. So number 1 is junk food. Now, what is considered junk food? Junk food is anything that is made up of garbage ingredients. This means that whatever food it is that you're eating contains very few nutrients that your body actually needs, and a ton of ingredients like fat, sugar, and salt that your body doesn't actually need and can easily get a lot of. Some examples of this would be potato chips, donuts, pastries, cookies, cakes, pies. The list can go on forever. A simple way to think about junk food is the food that you naturally gravitate towards when you're stressed out. That's junk food. And when you consider how you actually feel after consuming those foods, which is worse than what you usually felt before you ate it, it's no wonder why it's called junk food, because it makes you feel like crap. Number 2 is refined carbs. First and foremost, having an understanding of this part right here can either make or break your diabetes journey. Now, when you hear about carbs, especially in the diabetes community, you're hearing,
avoid all carbs are bad, low carb this, low carb that, keto, Atkins, blah, blah, blah.
And I totally get that. But it's really important that we understand that all carbs are not bad. There are some really healthy foods out there that get a bad rap because they are carbs, like beans and fruits, but they work incredibly well in your diet to not only keep you satiated, but to also help you to slow the speed of digestion in order to prevent a blood sugar spike. Now, while all carbs are not created equal, refined carbs, you do want to watch yourself. Refined carbs are also known as simple carbs. So, you know, kind of back in the day when somebody would call you like simple-minded or slow, meaning like you weren't all the way there, something's missing, you're just not getting it. Think of refined carbs or simple carbs in that way. There's just something missing. And what's missing is the bran, the fiber, and the nutrients from those carbs. All the good stuff has been stripped away, and you're left with white stuff. White bread, white rice, white sugar, white pasta, and all of the things that are created from these things. So you have sugary cereals, you have pastries, you have cookies, you have cakes, you have donuts, pizza dough, biscuits, pasta, pastries. You get where I'm going here. So that's why these types of carbs are best avoided as much as possible, because since all the nutrients has been stripped away, that means when you eat them, it's going to digest really, really fast and hit your bloodstream even faster, causing your blood sugar to spike. And because your body is in a state of insulin resistance, once your blood sugar spikes, it takes longer for them to come back down, and your body stays inflamed. Number 3 is fried foods. Now, we like to fry everything from chicken to donuts, but fried foods are really, really terrible for diabetes. The main reason for this is because when you eat fried foods, this dramatically increases the amount of fat going into your bloodstream. And a lot of times this fat is trans fats from fast foods and seed oils, which are really toxic to the human body. This overload of fat puts your body into an even more chronic state of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance means that the cells in your liver and muscle tissues are clogged with fat. So when you eat fried foods, it's only causing those cells to become even more clogged, which means insulin can't do its job efficiently and your blood sugar levels stay elevated. Number 4 is sugar sweetened beverages. Now, everything including prepackaged fruit juices like apple juice, Capri Suns, energy drinks, sports drinks like Gatorade, sweet teas, and all of those things fall in this category. Again, I'm not saying that you're never going to drink these things. All I'm saying is if you're drinking these drinks more than you're drinking water or eating fruit, you might have a problem. These drinks are full of added sugar, which means they're not natural. White sugar is a refined carb. We just talked about that. And it's all up and through these drinks. They also dehydrate you faster. Have you ever wondered why you continue to be so thirsty after drinking an Arizona iced tea or something like that? Yeah, because there's no nutrients in it, which means that your blood sugar becomes more concentrated and your kidneys have to work extra hard to filter out your blood to pass the extra sugar through your urine. Now, number 5 is actually 2 things, which is processed meats and dairy. And the reason why I put both of these together is because they truly do go hand in hand when it comes to diabetes and inflammation. So remember when we were talking about insulin resistance and how fat clogs the cells and those kinds of things? Well, a lot of that fat and cholesterol comes from processed meats and dairy. Animal-based products are full of a different type of fat called saturated fat. When saturated fat gets into the bloodstream, it starts to clog up not only your cells, but it starts to make your blood very thick and fatty. Did you ever wonder why when you go to check your blood sugar, once you stick yourself and you are trying to get the blood out, sometimes you have to kind of force it or it has trouble really coming out? That's one of the signs that your blood is really fat. And animal-based products is to blame for that. When we're talking about reversing diabetes, and we're talking about how the root cause of diabetes is insulin resistance and those cells being clogged with fat, it doesn't make sense to continue to overconsume the very thing that caused your body to get in that insulin resistant state in the first place. If your goal is to reverse diabetes, you have to reverse insulin resistance. If insulin resistance is a result of fat clogging the cells and you continue to overconsume a bunch of saturated and trans fats from animal products and rancid oils, well, that's really counterproductive, which is what happens when a lot of people are focusing on keto diets and low carb. It's unsustainable and it totally defeats the purpose of reversing insulin resistance. You may not like me after this video, but that is a sacrifice that I am willing to make. But no, in all seriousness, when you are trying to learn how to navigate diabetes and keep your blood sugar balanced, it can be really, really disheartening because you're already in a place more than likely where you feel like you can't eat anything. And so to see a video like this where we're explaining to you the top worst foods for diabetes, it can kind of feel daunting, like, oh my gosh, I have to give up even more food when I'm already feeling super restrictive as it is. You need to know that you are not expected to give up these foods altogether. And anyone that is telling you that you cannot eat any foods that you enjoy in order to reverse diabetes is lying to you. However, having an awareness of what foods are going to work for you and what foods have the potential to work against you is one of the most important things that you can do as you learn to navigate this lifestyle for the intention of reversing diabetes. So I don't want you to take away from this video the fact that you can't ever enjoy life again because these foods may be present. Life is going to continue to present you with situations where these top 5 worst foods may be present, and you're going to want to eat them, and you probably will. The key is learning how to do it in a way that continues to move you closer to your goal of reversing diabetes. And that's exactly what I teach you inside Dominating Diabetes Academy. Make sure that you read the description box below to find out more about Dominating Diabetes Academy, and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.